Um, yes, we are live now. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I've not been making videos for the past few days, but this is my first video in the last few days. In this video, I'll talk about how to save so that you always have enough. We'll talk about various aspects of saving, the kinds of investments that you can make, or where should you invest, and how should you find the right places to invest, etc. I'll talk about all these things. So let's get started. um, so the first goal of you know the first thing that you should do before you decide to invest is find out the purpose of why are you saving, why are you investing. There should always be a goal. Why is this important? Because a goal is a point in the future. It could be any point in the entire timeline, and that place of the goal in the particular point in time will tell us how much time do you have before the goal arrives. How much time do you have before the event arrives? Let me give you an example. uh, Suppose I have a goal that I I want to buy a car in the next 3 years. Okay. So I also have a plan that it will cost me about 10 lakh rupees in all, including all the expenses. So I want to be assured that I should have at least 10 lakh rupees in my savings when I go to the market and buy a car after 3 years. So, that's why goals are important, because it gives us the time in which we require the money, the time in the future that we are left with, in which we will need the money. Now, coming to the savings part, and then we'll come to where to invest that money. Uh, if you are a salaried professional, you should always divide your expenses into categories, and you should try to calculate how much will your expenses be. For example, if you earn 50,000 rupees per month, maybe you can assume that, or based on the data, suppose let's say 10,000 per month goes for the rent, 5,000 goes for eating, maybe 5,000 goes for the weekly outings, etc., uh, and 5,000 for miscellaneous expenses. So you are left with about 25,000 rupees. This is the uh, one of the basic ways to arrive at how much you should be saving. Still, if your cost of living is high, if your rent is high, if you eat more fancy food, if you order more things per month, this number could be anywhere from 25 to 50,000 rupees. The ideal percentage that you should save, uh, it should be approximately 30% of your earnings. So if you are earning 50,000 rupees per month, ideally you should be saving 15,000 rupees every month, and you are free to splurge 35,000 rupees. I'm not saying you have to get rid of all those 35,000. Just make sure you easily handle your budget with the 35,000, and if you save more, it's good. You can always invest. Okay. Now, first step is done. First step was to save a fixed fraction of your money uh, for investments, for saving. So we arrived at a conclusion that we should be saving 30% per month. Next, there could be goals of different kinds. Suppose there could be goals where you need money in the next 1 year, then there could be goals where you need money in the next 3 to 5 years, and there could be goals where you need money in the next 10 years, after 10 years. There could be different kinds of goals. For the 10 or more years, maybe you are planning to buy a house after 10 years, or maybe you are you are uh, uh, just planning for the higher education of your kids who are quite small now. Uh, these things. For medium term, you might be planning to buy a car. You might be planning for a foreign trip or maybe anything of this sort. And short-term goals could be emergency funds. Suppose any of you fall, any of your family members fall extremely ill, or all of a sudden you have emergency need of funds. So these kinds of things will come in the short duration funds, short duration savings. Now, um, why is this categorization important? Because this categorization, this goal-based tracking will tell us where do we want to invest our money. Okay, based on your profile. This information plus your profile. Now, suppose you are a 30-year-old person or 25-year-old person, you have just started working. So you are sure that more or less you are sure that you will be getting money for, you will be getting um, income for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, maybe let's say you will be earning for the next 30 years. So you do not have to worry about a lot of things. You do not have a lot of financial stress at this point in time. Therefore, you have the ability to take risks. Okay. Now compare this to the person who is already at the age of 50, 55. He's going to retire in the next few years. So he will not be earning any money in the next, after 5 or 10 years, he will not be earning money at all. So what should he do? Uh, he should invest his money in places where he's very sure of earning. He very sure of earning his interests or returns, and he does not want to take risks because at that point in time in his life he cannot afford risks. Okay. This is done. This calculation is done for. Okay. Now, why does risk important? What does risk have to do with investment? Well, risk has everything to do with investments. You should always first uh, get your goals sorted, get them divided into medium term, long term, and short term, and then allot the risks for it. How much risk appetite do you have? Do you want to take more risk or do you want to take less risks? Are you more aged or are you less aged? If you are more aged, do you have a lot of money that you can you if you have a lot of money, you can take more risk because you will always have that protective layer of funds uh, which will cover you up. Therefore, you have the cushion to absorb any kind of loss that might arise because of the higher risk, and that will also give you higher returns. Now, for the lower risk part, if you do not have a lot of funds, or maybe you want to just be sure that I want to earn 8 or 9% per year, not more than that, but I want to be sure that I want to earn 8 to 9% per year, then maybe you will go for lesser risk profile options. So all that matters, all that depends upon your appetite, your risk appetite, and your preferences, and the amount of money you have, the age group you're falling in, um, a lot of factors. So your risk profile is very important. Your goals are very important. Now, once you have finalized your risk appetite and your goals, then you will decide on how much money you want to invest in equity, how much money you want to invest in debt. Equity is investing in mutual funds, investing in stocks, and debt, it is investing in bonds, in fixed deposits, uh, mm, yeah, in debt mutual funds, etc. These are the avenues of uh, a debt fund. Uh, an equity fund is always riskier. If you are individually investing in stocks, there will be a lot of risk involved. A stock has a systematic as well as the unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is the market related risk, the risk that is driven by the market sentiments, that is driven by the economy, uh, the macroeconomic policy, how the country is doing, how the GDP is doing, what are the RBI policies, what are the finance ministries' stances, rules, regulations, etc. how is the world doing? A lot of things. These are systematic risks, and unsystematic risks are the firm specific risks. If what if the CEO resigns? Okay, is there a corporate governance issue? Are the earnings of the company not growing? So these are the kinds of risks that are unsystematic risks. And if you are just investing in individual stocks, these unsystematic risks cause a lot of exposure to your portfolio. These cause this can cause a lot of damage as well. So, you know, getting a right diversification, and that's why you should invest in mutual funds and not individually picking up stocks unless you are very sure about what stocks you want to invest in. Uh, okay, so this was about risk, and yes, if you have a higher risk appetite, you invest in mutual funds. If you have lower risk appetite, you invest in bonds. You invest in debt funds. We have already talked about where to invest. We have already talked about how much to save. We have already talked about making goals. Okay, okay. So I think this was it that I wanted to convey. This was all that I wanted to convey in this video. If you have any questions, just put down in the comment box below and we'll answer them. Please subscribe if you do not want to miss any updates from the financial or economic world or the analysis that I do. You can check out all the videos on my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.